All right, welcome back to the CounterStrike Casuals podcast, your weekly podcast for casuals by casuals. Really, my fellow casual, how are you?
Pretty good, mate. How are you?
All well, thank you. Let's start this podcast off by saying our last episode we uploaded talked about how Train is coming, and then an hour later, Valve released Train. So we, not really us revealing anything. It was like the least kept secret ever. Everyone was talking about Train, but funny timing considering we were talking about an hour before. Have you played much Train? Have you played any Train?
No, I haven't. I've been. I feel like I say this every week, but I've been so busy. I did have a run around on it, little like parkour trip.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's fine.
yes,
So
I
you went
like
to the
it. Do I
train
like it?
station. That was it.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I just had a run around and realised how bad I am at movement on CS.
Well, they've updated it, so it feels a
I
bit
struggled
different.
with that jump around that corner.
Yeah, right onto the top bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I actually
Yeah,
think that's a good change, blocking that off. I quite like that change. I don't like it being blocked off at the A. I might get my sights right now. A site, and that kind of angled down towards the trains, towards ladder room. But I don't mind it being blocked off on the upper parts. I think it's B. That angle before, where you come out of that bit at the top, always just felt like you would just get AWP'd or whatever. You never had a chance to get out there, so at least it adds a bit more to that. I quite like it.
Yeah. I think I like it. I need to play a game on it, to be
We
honest.
need to play
But
a
like I
better
said,
game. Maybe we play one after
yeah.
this, actually.
Yeah. Do you want to do the intro?
Oh, do you know what? I'll do the intro, boy. I cut that short. Oh my god, I'm so eager to get into the chat. I'm so sorry. I'm on one today. Well, we'll start late as well. Go on.
Yeah, we are running a bit late. Train. I wasn't asked about it anyway. It was a very CT sided map. I feel like they're trying to make it more even by the changes they've done.
But every map seems to be T-sided nowadays, so it feels
fairly even. Only slightly. Some maps are slightly swayed towards the T side, right?
Well, you know what I say about sides at our level, at casual level.
You don't think it matters?
It does not matter one blind F. At pro level, definitely, and high level ranks, I get it. But I don't think when you're running around with no tactics, no real lineups.
So what are you better at? CT or T?
I think that I'm better at T at the moment. Well, I feel like I'm putting in more. I'm having more impact on T anyway. And it is. The game is a bit more suited to my style of just charging in there, right? So it does seem to help me a bit.
Well, I know this isn't on your notes, and I do apologise for going off topic. Do you think that it's more Pika's advantage that is making like CS2 seem more T-sided, or do you think it's the AK is quite powerful and the M4 is kind of not as good?
I just think it's the way the running and gunning works. It is a bit more forgiving, isn't it, when you're running and just charging in there? I don't know what the answer is for it. The movement, the way the guns seem to work when you're running and moving just seems easy. It's like the MP9, like that thing's just incredible when you're just like.
So not Pika's advantage.
Well, I guess it's got something to do with it. I thought they kind of tried to fix that, and no one seems to really talk about it as much. But again, those that are more technically minded than us might be able to correct us. But the whole swinging out with a gun just feels a lot easier, doesn't it? And that suits my style of play. The one thing I find on CT, and this particularly maybe just me, is like I overthink utility a lot on CT. Like the amount of times I'll get caught with an aid out or throw a under like utilize util happens a lot. So I think with T it's easier. I think T utility I don't think about as hard, and I just kind of run in there and other people do it for me in a way. Like you might flash for me or whatever, but with CT I think about utility a lot, and that's when I really get unstuck, and that's when I start having those rounds where I don't buy utility if I'm struggling, because I just think I need to just think about shooting some people in the head as opposed to using a smoke. Right?
It's funny you say that, because you would assume that T-side utility is more important to take bomb sites because obviously you need to push a bomb site. You need nade lineups usually like smokes and flashes and whatnot.
Yeah, but I'm
But
not doing
you,
that. I'm relying on you to do that.
yeah. So you're doing that on the CT side.
Yeah, I'm overthinking a lineup when it's like they're already on site. And I'm like, oh shit, oh shit.
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing lineups on CT side. You should
Yeah.
be doing it on T side.
But I think
Okay.
the addition of Train, just going back to that, is good. It's showing that they are thinking about things other than charms and skins and ways to monetize it. They are giving us something we want, which is just a variety of maps and some additional gameplay. You know, the sooner Vertigo is out, we're bored of talking about it, the same as anti-cheat. We don't need to go over it. But once they mix that up, get that out, and add in like a cache or something, then that map pool's starting to look pretty good. And I still would be an advocate for Overpass coming in as well. But they made loads of changes to Overpass in the last update, which makes
Yeah,
me
they
think...
have, which is funny. It's nice though because Train's basically like a new map, right? Overpass they made some massive changes to, but I think Train is the first map that they've brought back but changed quite a lot. Like it's basically a new map.
Yeah, well, I think Vertigo is one that they really chopped and changed, didn't they, with these all
Yeah,
these
that's true.
openings and
Yeah,
things.
but they brought it back the same
Yeah,
and then
pretty.
changed it.
Yeah, that was more just a graphical overhaul, and then they changed it to make it more appealing, and it just didn't work. What Nuke was one that when they first released it, they gave it the big one, and that was again just more graphical. There was no major changes, was there? Mirage, fucking no changes. Dust 2, just the short box boost seems to be the only change, right? There's no other
Did
change.
they change the gap at mid? You know, suicide where you drop down.
I thought that was already that. No, that was done in CS:GO.
Did they do that? Was it CS:GO? Okay.
Yeah. Is there any others? No. Well, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Someone will remind us in the comments.
Please do. Please do. So Train's back. Choo Choo Train. We haven't played it enough. We're going to get on board and give it a few goes. RMR's Europe's here. Europe Group A is here. Some would say
Finally.
the big dogs are in town. We've got the likes of Na'Vi, major winners at the last major, Vitality, Mouse, Cloud9, the boys FaZe, who else? Some other teams in there who I was expecting to do probably a bit better than that. I thought Saw were going to actually weirdly probably qualify in place of maybe Cloud9 who have qualified just because of their recent running at some tournaments. Fnatic, Gamer Legion, who always seem to pop up and get into the major, right? So it's quite a good group, this. I can't remember who's in the other group, but make Falcons. Completely forgot about Falcons there. So yeah, it's started, and so far, the date of recording this podcast, the qualified teams are Vitality, Mouse, Na'Vi, Cloud9, and FaZe, with another 2 going through in about... Well, the games will start in about 5 or 6 hours, but we'll be tucked up in bed dreaming of CounterStrike.
Yeah, fast asleep, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
who?
I mean,
What are
they're
you
kind of
happy about?
expected teams, right?
Yeah.
Expected teams. What am I happy about? I'm happy FaZe are through.
Yep.
We can touch on them in a second. I feel like we need to talk about them, well, specifically Carrigan, but we'll talk about him soon. I'm happy Mouse, Vita. To be honest, I kind of expected and happy they're all through. I don't have a team in CS, but I have a few select teams that I do like. So like if Mouse are playing pretty much anyone, I would like them to win. I do obviously like Fnatic as well, but they're not like the top tier teams, so I can't really like root for them every day.
Oh, can you not? It's only if they're a top tier team that you
No, if they're playing
the merch
Mouse,
out.
for example, if they're playing Mouse, I'm gonna go for them, right? You always want the underdog team to win.
Depends who it is.
But yeah, Fnatic.
If it's FaZe Falcons, I wouldn't want Falcons to win.
No, but I mean, like, if you have 2 favorites, if you like 2 teams equally, are you gonna root for the underdog more? No,
Don't know.
because you're just like you go for FaZe, whoever they're playing.
Often, yeah. It'd be tight between Na'Vi this year because of Alexi
So if
being JL.
Okay, so if Navi and FaZe were against each other,
Right now in this situation, I still want FaZe to win, especially with, I mean, you know, the likes of Rain is like just pulling it back, isn't he? Just like, all right, we're at the major.
Mate,
We need
if
to get to the
anyone
major.
starts doubting Rain, he's just like, oh, did you forget who I am?
Yeah, he does.
I
He does
need
do
to
that.
remind you.
Oh, this is the time I need to turn up and actually just kill heads and do my role and be quality.
Yeah, he's so good, mate. He's so good in big games. He's just like, he's so cool, calm, and collected. Like, he's the guy. Someone I want to shout out, mate, is Torzy.
Okay.
Torzy? I feel
Yeah.
like I said his name wrong.
No, I think you're saying it right. I don't. It's any weird
Mate,
read.
Torzy is going off as well, and I feel like people have been calling him out. When everyone talks about Mouse, you're talking about Jimmy, you're talking about Exertion, you're talking about Shuei, maybe. You don't really talk about Torzy that much, and even Brolin, you don't really talk about. But he's gone off these past 3 games, and mate, they could win it. They could win it. They could go all the way.
Oh, I think you're getting a bit carried away there. They beat
I am getting carried away, mate, but
and Sangao, and then they beat Navi. Obviously, that's a good scout to
They
take.
beat Navi, mate. Navi, the favourites to win it, and they beat them 2-0, right?
No, 2-1. So again,
2-1. Okay, but still, these guys, everyone's like, oh, they've never won a big tournament, though. They can never win on land, blah blah blah. Or they never win on stage, even that everyone says. Watch them go win the major and just shut everyone up.
I would be up for that. That'd be cool. I think that's a nice story.
Vitaly, obviously cool.
Oh,
Cloud9,
dominating. It's lovely to see
like-
Mezzi coming back into that team and
Yes.
playing well. Obviously, we're going to always root for Mezzi being a fellow Brit, and I think from what a lot of people say about him in the server and stuff, he's a real good teammate. So he gets a lot of slack because he just plays such unsexy roles and just seems to be the guy that takes things on. But he takes things on well. So it'd be great to see him get more credit if he continues this.
He's like the glue on the server. Like you've got those. Like I think JL is the glue of Navi, like personality-wise. Like he just keeps everyone together. He probably keeps the mood really high and like helps them with morale and stuff. I think Mezzi's that guy for, not for Vitaly. Obviously, they were 16 before, but he's like you said, he plays the roles that other people don't really want to play. And he does such a good job, and I think he's quite underrated. Like he can be really low on stats and stuff, but it just seems like it doesn't matter to him. Like, as long as the team get the win, which a lot of people say that, but I feel like with him, he kind of lives that.
Yeah,
he lives that mantra.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's 2 teams left to qualify from the matches that begin at 2 a.m. our time. I won't be watching them. Unfortunately, I've been trying to watch some of the highlights back and some streams back, but it's just that watching them live is just completely mad. Who out of the teams that are playing, or that's left? I know the answer to one. Okay, so the 2 teams qualify. Who do you want to qualify? I know who.
Yeah. So obviously Fnatic.
Yeah.
And I think Saw.
Okay.
Yeah, I was torn a little bit, to be honest, between them and Gamer Legion, but yeah, I would like Fnatic and Saw to go through.
I'm going to say Gamer Legion and Saw. I think Saw deserve it just because of some of the deep runs and their play this year. They've
What?
Mate, Saw ranked.
How about
you
support your mate here and say you want Fnatic to go through as well?
I don't want Fnatic to.
Your boy, Blame F.
Do you know what? Blame F is.
Mate, if Ipswich were playing, I'd be like, yeah, go on Ipswich.
Yeah, but they're not. And I actually like Nork as well, but Blame F I would like to see. Crims, I kind of want them. I don't want them to go through because I want Crims to just retire now and just like leave.
Mate, you're actually making me angry now.
The bad thing
We're gonna fall out.
The bad thing is they got a British coach, so like Keita guy's British. But no, I think Gamer Legion, man, it feels like weird to have not an event like this without having Gamer Legion there. I kind of want Gamer Legion there.
Right, we'll say Gamer Legion and Fnatic.
Gamer Legion and Saw are the 2 that I would hope go through. So let's see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, I think whilst we're on the topic of this, we've got to talk about the most disappointing team in this group. Like, we have to, right? I know we're
Yeah.
skipping about a bit. We've got a notes order
Yeah,
that
usually I don't like these kind of things. It's like, oh, why are you talking about a team that's not doing well? But we kind of have to. Like,
what
we don't have a choice.
you don't want to shit on Falcons.
No, just like usually, like if like it's basketball, they're talking about like the Lakers and they're not playing well. It's like, why are we talking about the Lakers? Like if they're shit, let's talk about the good teams.
Because
Like, if that,
Falcons are
but
like the dubbed super team of this year. They were the like hype
yeah,
team,
no, you're right. You're right.
and Sonic and Magisk left a perfectly good setup at Vitality to go follow the bag. You know, kicked Dupree out of Vitality, then went to Falcons, brought Dupree over. You know, it's just funny and ironic that they are probably one of the most disappointing teams of this year. Like, maybe Cloud9 are second in terms of actually what they've done this year and how they've been moving. And Falcons are top of the disappointment charts. And even bringing in s1mple, who at one stage I saw in Reddit, I think I put it on the, let me just get up quickly. So the s1mple, so for the first 9 maps with s1mple, I think these stats dropped a bit off after they've now come out. 9 maps, everyone's played 9 maps. He was like rating 1.10. The closest was Magisk at 0.91, and then it just drops off from there. So s1mple probably did his bit and added to it, but they're just so fundamentally flawed, aren't they? To the point where, and we have spoken about this before, it just needs an absolute overhaul, and the only real answer is probably keeping Magisk and Sonic. And even then you start questioning Sonic, because they didn't even really show an inkling or ounce of potential, it feels. Like, it's just been shit. The whole time it's just been poor.
It's really difficult without being there, because it's like, how much can Zonic actually do? Like, he's just a coach, right?
Well, yeah, but he's hailed as one of the best coaches of all time, and you know, all these majors that he won with Astralis and then the Vitality major, he is hailed. Yeah, he's meant to be like someone that is able to do these things and change up tactics in a match when it's not going well and help Snappy. And I don't know,
How much they can actually talk though, like in the game, like it's just during timeouts and stuff. But yeah, you kind of do have a point.
And also,
But
sorry to interrupt, but when you think back to that, remember when him and the like MD or chief guy of Falcons was on HLTV? It was just such a weird dynamic, and you know, I don't know. I wonder how much for Zonic.
it feels like he's got the keys to the castle, right?
Yeah, I
It's
don't know.
kind of his ship. He seems like, well, he kind of seems weirdly like him and Magisk is like, I like the captains of the ship almost. It did when they were
Yeah,
when
which
they
makes
first.
sense, I guess. But I think you
Well, it
just
doesn't because Snap is the in-game leader.
well agree. But what I mean is, it makes sense how that dynamic would actually play out, because it's those two and they've come together and they were the first two, weren't they? So needs a complete overhaul. If Nico's going there, Magisk and Nico is a great starting point, but I don't know who you build around that. I don't think s1mple should stay.
Really?
I don't know, man. s1mple.
So if Nico goes, so you're saying get rid of everyone but Magisk?
I think so. I think s1mple is. I don't know what. I don't know the answer for
Do you not
s1mple.
think s1mple seems a little bit more chill?
A bit. I did see him get a bit frustrated on Mirage when they lost on Mirage. Can't remember what. I was watching for about 15 minutes at work while I had like a quick time, and it might have been the Game of Legion game. Yeah, they lost to the last map on Mirage or one. Anyway, I saw him getting a bit frustrated there and like starting to show classic s1mple signs of just kicking off, basically.
Yeah, I think it was just a strange move in general because they had some Pius, right, who was, I think, their highest rated player and was playing pretty well. So it's like, well, let's get rid of our best player to get another good player. So it's like you got 5 players, you got one that's good. Let's make him a little bit better. It's like when you create a game and when you increase the stats on your character
Mm.
and you just keep stacking one
Yeah,
skill,
one ability. Yeah.
and you're not really going to improve a team like that. So it's a little bit strange, but I guess they have plans for the future, bringing Nico on board. They're definitely going to make big changes now. I
Yeah,
think
I
keep
think,
Simple, keep Magisk, add Nico to the mix, and you're already getting a better team. They need to get rid of Snappy, in my opinion.
and then you could
I
bring
like Snappy
Perfecto
as a
in.
person,
You could bring
but
Perfecto in because link back up with Simple, and then you need a good IGL. I don't know who.
Huxley.
I know. The thing with this Hooksy stuff is like everyone's saying this, or like other podcasts, but like when Hooksy was on G2, like they just could not shit on Hooksy enough. So I don't get why they're being like this now, like almost turning it back around. I guess Sonic's Danish, Hooksy's Danish, Magisk or whatever, but like I don't know.
Would you take Glaive? Would you have Glaive or Huxley?
I don't fucking mate. I feel like I probably would take Glaive.
Yeah.
Did he fall out with Sonic or anything? I don't know if they left on.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Anyway, Falcons, big change needed. Disappointed to say the least. I actually think as well, like the only route now for like Snappy is to go rebuild a team like he did at Ents and have that. He's not a super team, super spotlight IGL man. And I've said it before.
He's a build a team guy.
Build a team guy, nurture them, bring out the best in probably some slightly younger players. He's not the one to play with Magisk and Simple, let's be honest. The guy sounds moody and wet as fuck when, you speak to him. I mean, I don't speak to him, but when you hear Snappy, like never that happy or like, I don't know. The personality I don't think fits with like a Simple
bit serious.
Bit fucking, is he a dad? If he's not a dad, he should be a dad.
Like us.
Just bare serious, isn't he? He's stressed. He's just stressed about something. He's annoyed that someone hasn't put their toys away. Do you know what I mean? Or they haven't brushed their teeth.
Yeah, he's just like got the kids ready to school, screaming and shouting.
Exactly, window into our life.
Yeah.
The other team that's been disappointing this year, but actually did qualify, is Cloud9, who I touched on. I think I am glad to see Cloud9 qualify, and that is because of how highly I rate Boomage. And I've said this before, I think Boomage is actually an underrated player and a very good RGL, despite his weight loss. Some people seeming to think that him losing all that weight has made him worse, which is just funny. And the opposite of the guy that's had weight loss in Heavy God, and Heavy God being weirdly affiliated to Brits because of his time on Endpoint, which is about it, and us watching him live once. But yeah, I'm glad they're qualified. Actually, I kind of want to see how they get on. I think it's
same. I'm kind of glad. Heavy God's sick. He's so good, man.
He's good.
I don't know why they've got Perfecto on the bench, but anyway, let's. And they did have a bit of a fake run, right?
Yeah.
They played three pretty.
Yeah, they had a nice run.
They're pretty bad teams, and then they played FaZe and lost. But yeah, happy to see them there regardless. As long as Fnatic get through, we're all good.
Okay, all right. Well, look, maybe I will back Fnatic a bit just so you're a bit more excited about it, or when you can put them in your fantasy team. That's all you want to do. You just want to put
Blame F and are in my fantasy team, and Zywoo. No, not Crims. I think they need to get rid of Crims.
Okay, right. We've talked about that for minutes. I'm actually wearing my FaZe top because I do want to say our thoughts are with Carrigan, because Carrigan put a tweet out after they qualified, actually saying that just before the RMRs, his brother died, which is heartbreaking news. His older brother. So shout out to Carrigan and our thoughts with his family. It's actually incredible how I don't know how this feels for context of losing a sibling, but losing a brother and then going to an RMR and leading your team to qualification is insane. Like, you know how much I love Carrigan, but he is a fucking goat. It's insane. Like how he can switch that off and then just go do that. So, thoughts of Carrigan. I'm wearing my FaZe t-shirt because in tribute to your brother. I do want to talk about, and this is a bit serious, and that's why I kind of use that to segue in about. And I don't feel like we've ever done anything like this because this is obviously a very casual podcast. But the news was as well with Device coming out and Device stating his continued issues or returning issue of stress-related problems, where effectively he said that he's kind of had a reoccurrence of the things he had before, which is when he was on NIP, which are effectively just like stress-related health issues that I think what I can understand is he gets very stressed in situations or struggles with travel, and as a result it kind of shows signs in like his body just fucking breaking down, I think, right? He said in his recent post that reoccurrence of stress-related health challenges. The first few nights I was having issues with sleep and I wouldn't be getting more than a few hours each night. As the week progressed, I would be progressively getting worse symptoms, less sleep, cramps, heart palpitations, and extreme fatigue. He hoped to get better once he got home, but he has to face reality, and I'm still not at a point where it's realistic for me to complete. So interestingly, he's been there before. He's not going to be at the major. They missed the last major because they didn't qualify. Device is going to miss a second major in a row this time because of effectively stress and the mental load, I believe, of kind of his job. I think that's fair to say. And today, the day of recording is like International Men's Day. I don't really know what that means. I think it's just us as males are meant to be a bit more aware of mental health. And it feels to me like it's everywhere at the moment. And we don't need to go on about this a lot, but I did actually I thought it might be cool to just put it out there because gaming and mental health, or gaming in particular, could be quite lonely, I think. And I know people, and I have friends at the moment who are guys who are struggling with mental health issues, definitely. And they're might not necessarily be gamers. Some are actually, but some might not be. And I don't know. I just thought we could talk about it. On the Device thing, do you think it's the right move for Device to step away from the major and he's take a break from CounterStrike and gaming? What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's struggled with this before, and he needs to do everything in his power to fix his mental health. Like, he's in a fortunate situation where I guess he can do that, but it's also an unfortunate situation where it's like, if you're a professional Counter-Strike player, what do you do if playing Counter-Strike and that lifestyle also comes with a lot of stress? Do you go and get a normal job and quit and, probably take a massive financial hit, and you're still probably unsure whether you're going to feel better about, mentally, um, or do you, take a break like he has done? I don't know. It's really difficult, and I do feel for him because it must be really bad for him to miss a major again. And for this, like, obviously the last major was because they didn't make it. This time they've made it. They've got a new team. It's kind of looking, pretty good. They're probably not going to win it, right? But they've got a good chance of making it through, and he's not there. So it must be pretty bad. I hope that he he feels better. And I don't really know what the answer is. I was thinking about this earlier, and I thought this has been thrown around a bit about having a player kind of what do we call it, union type thing.
Mm.
Um, they have one in the NBA. I can't remember what they call it, but there's like a players' union where there's someone there to look out for the players, maybe even like an independent company, or just to keep on top of the organizations. Because I heard on JL's interview earlier on HLTV him saying he would ideally like 2 weeks in between each tournament. And I was thinking that sounds a little bit extreme. I mean, yeah, I would like 2 weeks in between, my my heavy workloads as well. But unfortunately, we can't all get that. So it is really difficult because obviously we've not lived that lifestyle. I don't travel for work like they do.
Yeah.
Um, in the same respect, I think working life in general is difficult. And I think for them going from school to work like they do is pretty heavy. Um, you could argue that them playing a video game for a living and doing something that they really enjoy and getting paid quite heavily for it is great. I think money personally doesn't really play a part in it because they can't fully enjoy their financial freedom, right? Because they have to travel as much as they do
Right.
and they have to work as much as they do. Whereas if you're like, and also there's not that much money, right? They're not like multi-millionaires where
Well,
they
they're
literally
very
don't have
well
to work if
paid.
they don't want.
They're
Yeah,
paid a lot more than the
but
average
it's
in
not
most
financial
countries.
freedom, right?
Uh, if a device is playing this game for a very long time, I mean, device I would think is,
If he's been very careful with his money and
yeah, of
he's,
course.
and he's done very sensible things, but I think for most it's not. Maybe
But
they
but
could
but
get there.
he can also easily go and, I mean, they talked about in Talk and Counter. He could easily go and stream and probably make a living of that. But it's whether he
But
wants to
but
do that. But
but yeah, I guess that's another kind of stress in itself as well. I think with mental health, the most important thing is to realize that everyone's different. And I heard it described once as basically like lifting like a heavy weight. Everyone can lift like different types of weight. Everyone's experience of everything is different, right? Some people like roller coasters, some people fucking hate them, and it's the worst thing in the world. E- Everyone has a different mental ability to deal with certain situations and how they deal with something. So I think when people say, "Oh, so and so is a soft ass," or
or he should be
deal
great,
with it,
or he
or
should imagine. I think people said, some of the comments about device in particular, and obviously why we're talking about this is we talk about the wider context of mental health in people and men in particular at the moment. But obviously this is CounterStrike related on a CounterStrike podcast. But some of the comments have said, imagine, letting your team down and not going to compete to try and get to the major, or imagine giving up the opportunity to not try and get into the major. But when you're unable to basically function, but from the sounds of it, again, you've got to trust what he says, which is like he's basically unable to live properly day to day if he's not sleeping, getting heart palpitations,
heart palpitations.
which
Yeah,
I've been there. And this year I've been open with you about it. This year's been probably the most stressful of my life, in particular of like, I had my second child. My work's been not as easy as it has been probably for the last 10 years for me, which I've been very lucky and grateful to have it easy, but this year's been a bit harder. And I had it last year where we were buying a house, our second child was coming, and I had heart palpitations and my heart kept like skipping a bit of a beat, and I went to get like my heart scanned because I was like, am I actually having just like heart attacks here or something? You start panicking and getting in your mind. It was fine, and the nurse was just like, you're just super stressed. She's like, is anything changing in your life? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to buy a house and my second kid is due in like 3 months. And she's like, yeah, this is just stress, you need to calm the F down. And so when you get to that point, and my device, it's all well and good saying, oh, your device has got it easy and you should be loving it. It's like, you can't function properly when that stuff's happening. You can't, the last thing you're thinking is, oh, I need to go and sit down with a camera and be the star of a team that if we don't qualify, everyone's going to be looking at me. If he's not sleeping as well, he's getting cramps. It's really hard.
like
So
we're saying, yeah, people deal with things differently. Like
yeah,
some CS players might just be like so chill, not
yeah,
get any anxiety about it at all, and be absolutely fine. Some won't. Like some like our jobs or whatever. Like I could be thinking about a job and be getting super anxious about it, but there's probably a million other carpenters out there that don't suffer with that at all.
mm,
Um,
mm.
but What what did you,
Well,
what kind of things do you do to kind of address that?
well, this is interesting. I was about to say this as well. So what? Another thing why this is quite relevant is when I am. We're talking about stress actually, but when I've been really down this year, and again, I'm not really a down person. I would actually one of the my strongest things over the years has been mental resilience, and actually, I would say this year my resilience has been broken down the most, which is fine. Um, when I'm down or been down this year, I've been like, wow, I really don't know what's going on, like what my purpose is, or am I doing things right for my family? Um, the last fucking game I'm gonna load up. The last game I'm loading up is CounterStrike. Yeah, I'm not thinking
There's those.
let's
Yeah, there's
let's hop into a quick face it on Mirage with fucking 3 Russians and that is not the place I'm going to better my mental health. So when you look at it that way as well, fair play, step away. What do I do to combat it this year? What have I been doing? Sadly, I've drunk, and that's been awful. Like when you drink to release, escape, which is fine once in a while, but probably drank a bit too much this year to try and block it out a bit, which has not actually been good, and that's not what I would condone. But I'm just being honest with you. What would I actually do for a useful way to feel better? Is I have.
So you're saying the drinking doesn't help?
No, mate. You can't. You can have, 1 or 2, but even then, it's not really that good. Like you have a worse sleep. If you do have a worse sleep and maybe you do have too many drinks, I'm anxious the next day half the time. No, it's very standard stuff and boring, but exercise, man, I feel so much better when I play exercise. I've been playing tennis this year, squash. When I do that, I feel sick. I'm like, this is like nothing's a problem, once I've done a good bout of exercise. And I do go to gaming, but not Counter-Strike. I do not go to Counter-Strike when I'm in that space. I will play, weirdly, World of Warcraft is a very big comfort game for me. It's so relaxing, chilled, just grinding some leveling. Like I don't have to think, switch off. It's comforting. Weirdly, it really helps me. Single player games, Hogwarts Legacy. I played a lot of that this year. Like almost like safe games. Just like comfort zone. I'm not, but it's escapism. That's key. I escape from.
Just so this is what's interesting. I don't know if you were done. I don't mean to interrupt.
Mm-mm.
But what I'll find interesting is that escapism, I think, is really good. But there's two sides to it for me, because I'm such an active person and I'm always doing something. Like I rarely will stop for more than like an hour.
Yeah,
Like I might get an hour at the end of an evening after I've eaten and done everything else, and then I might sit and watch TV with the missus, and I don't feel bad about that. But if on like, I don't know, a Sunday, Saturday afternoon, the kids were out and I had a couple of hours free, if I sat and played World of Warcraft, I would get super conflict of emotions, because I enjoy gaming and I like doing stuff like that, but I also get super anxious about not being active and not being busy and not being productive and doing things.
but can you not justify it because you have been so active? Like you're not the type of person to do it. Wake up on a Sunday if the kids aren't there and play 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. because I've been with you at LAN events and you can't do it anyway. So you're not going to do that. But so surely can't you justify playing 4 or 5 hours when after you've done like your jujitsu, your gym, you've probably done a bit of work knowing you, and so surely you don't, you deserve to do what you want. So if you want to sit there being worried that you shouldn't be doing it, you can, but you do deserve that time because you've probably done more. I'm talking about you, I'm not talking about me or anyone else. You've probably done more in that half a day than most people have done in a whole day. So you probably,
Yeah,
and that's the
I think
problem.
for me, yeah, that's what I have to do. I have to get super organized, and I have to balance it out, right? So I have to do something productive. If I've had a super productive day, I feel like I've earned that time. So then I could be like, okay, but there's that much to do, and as you know, like I'm doing a lot of work on my house, and I think I kind of create these problems for myself as well. So I think for most guys, I feel like anxiety seems to get worse as we get into our 30s.
There's more
I feel like,
responsibilities usually that comes with it. At this
yeah,
age, again, we're being a bit general, but I guess I'm speaking from experience. At this age, you've got, maybe children or even maybe like a dog or something, and also often
a
you've a
mortgage.
mortgage. Yeah, you've often got an actual property you own or have something where you can't just get out of it, like a bit easier than renting something. So there's more at stake and there's more to lose. And also, I think as you get older, you're not invincible. You know,
Yeah, you. I feel like you're more aware of everything as well. So you're more aware of, like, from like a moral standpoint, or if you work for a company, you're more aware of the people above you, and you want to please everybody, and you want to make sure that company's doing well, or you're pleasing your colleagues. Or when you're like, I don't know, 22, you probably don't give a shit about all that. You're
yeah,
just
yeah,
working, like, ready to go and get drunk at the weekend and
yeah.
enjoy
I'm just looking
yourself.
forward to beers on a Friday. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Um, so just going back to kind of why I said that I wanted to bring this up, and obviously, really, you were up for it as well. But like, I just feel like it's kind of feels like it's everywhere at the moment. In particular for me this year, it's been a hard year, and I think Smooya tweeted as well. Obviously, I think he said he was taking a break from streaming. He said my mental isn't the best. So what's here? Because my mental isn't the best right now. I need to prioritize sleeping and eating better. See you soon, team. That was last week. So again, someone that I would perceive to be mentally resilient and funny, and no f's given. Like, it's not true. So he's also feeling it, I think. And I think this year's been a bit of a feeling of crunch, and when you look at the political and world things that are going on, it's all just a bit tense. So I think in the description I'll put our Discord, because we've never really talked about our Discord. It's there. Me and you are in it from time to time. If not, you can also find us direct on there. If any actual gamers, if any of this actually affects gamers, feel free to talk to us, because I'm talking to a few of my mates at the moment who are like, for whatever reason, it's actually just a bit stressful for them at the moment. Like, I'm up for talking to people. I actually do
Yeah,
have
same. I think
I
talking.
actually have a psychology degree, guys. I don't know. I could
Do
try
you
to
actually?
yeah, that's what my degree is in. I mean, what I can remember or retain of it, I don't know. But it's actually my first interest was human behavior and why we do think the way we do. And interestingly, I wanted to be my aim was to be a therapist originally, but then I quickly realised that it doesn't probably make as much money as I wanted to make, so I stopped.
Such a money man.
Well, not I know. So I'll put the Discord in the description. Feel free to join it. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm not going to speak for Briley if he wants to reach out, but you feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to speak to people. I feel like, as you know, I'm quite a deep guy anyway. I like to talk about emotions and whatnot. I feel like people are getting better and better at talking about their emotions and talking. I do think it definitely helps. I think it depends on the situation, depends on the problem that people have. But most of the time, just voicing it, even if, like, a lot of my issues or my stresses that I've had over the past few years, because I'm similar to you, like I've struggled with my mental health over the past few years. Most of it is, for me, stuff I have to deal with myself. Um, and I feel like I've just got to get more organized in my day-to-day life and take a grip of things and just deal with it and get on with it. But talking can help, even though if I could tell you all my issues, you can't necessarily physically help me with those problems. But sometimes just opening up makes you feel a little bit better. The fact that you've actually said it out loud weirdly can help. So I do
Event.
think it's good, even if you think it won't help, just talk to someone anyway, and it might make you feel better. It might not, but at least you've got someone there. Like, I know I've got a lot of close mates that'll reach out if I've got issues. Don't necessarily like talking about it all the time, to be honest with you. I heard a thing not long ago that was saying I think it did the rounds on social media, so you might have seen the same one. It was basically a guy saying when men talk about their issues, it makes them more stressed, whereas when women
Mm.
talk about their issues, it makes them less stressed. They're kind of releasing stress by talking about it. But sometimes men, when they talk about it, actually rattles them up a little bit more, which sometimes that happens with me, which winds my wife up when I don't talk to her about things. But like I said before, for me, I feel like I have to deal with my own problems. Maybe that's
Yeah,
a bad way to think, but
yeah, maybe that's making it a bit secluded for you. But I feel like maybe this sounds bad then. So maybe it's also that maybe that's when you're talking to your wife though, and you might find it easier to talk to like me or someone else, where it's like we're not as in it as well as like you and your wife, because you and your wife will share those stresses. I imagine, like me and my wife do. Like I'll be like, oh,
yeah,
I'm
yeah, that's
stressed about
true. Yeah.
this, and she's like, yeah, it's fucking stressful, and I'm like, oh my god, you're stressed as well. What are we gonna
Yeah.
do? Whereas like you and me talk, or I talk to a stranger or Discord or whatever, someone, it's like they're not actually attached into it, so they're like, okay, well that sounds pretty mad, but you know, whatever. What about this? Anyway, look, I think it's just important to get out there, and I think also in the context of these things happening around us and gaming, I don't know, gaming has always been kind of a bit of a lonely associated thing. I'm not sure it really is anymore, but if it is for some people, it doesn't have to be, and you know, we're here. And I hope everyone's mental, male, female, whatever the non-binary,
I would say
biro.
game, but don't game too much.
Okay, yeah, well, the game within reason. When
Yeah, guys, moderation, moderation. Maybe that's the problem with these pro CS players. They're playing too much CS. It
well,
was their downtime, and now it's their job. So
when the
that's
fun stops, stop. All right, let's move on to something a bit more chirpy. We haven't got too long. We're going long enough, to be fair. So we did mention Smooya just now. So should we have a quick into the breach check-in? Because there's been a rumor that Kios is getting replaced by Cypher. Cypher of X Into the Breach fame is coming back. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that. Kios has been statistically the worst player on the team, but does that matter? Does that mean anything? Would you like to see Cypher back in this team and replace Kios? I mean, what do you think?
I think this is a personality thing only. Game wise, he could be a better player than Kios, but personality wise, is he gonna? Smooya's a big character, man. Like if him and Smooya can get on and get on with everyone else and don't seclude themselves from everyone else because they're both British, if they can get on with each other, then yeah, maybe. I think if I was running into the breach, my sole focus would be how are they going to get on with Smooya, because I do feel like he's such a big character and he's such a polarizing character. That'd be my only question with bringing anyone on board.
I have a weird feeling from my insider knowledge, and I feel like we can say this now because we're a little casual podcast and it's been on. I feel like when we had Sam on, owner of Into the Breach, before we went on air, he said Smooya didn't want Cypher on the team.
Oh, Smooya said like basically all British players are shit, but then he kind of changed his tone after the major.
Maybe you're right. That might be right. Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, I think he was just like, they're all shit.
Oh,
yeah.
it does.
Also, he loves Mezzi. I know he loves Mezzi, but that's different.
Yeah.
Okay. Mate, I'd be up for seeing Cypher back in the team. Make it a bit more British. It's fun. They're our team now, so it'd be good. They've got a bit of they had a nice little run where they were really picking up, and then they've kind of dipped a bit and dropped off a tiny bit. Not too bad, but overall, this has been their first year with this new look lineup. I don't know if they've got any other matches coming up or any other events. I had to try to have a quick look earlier, but obviously it's kind of the end of the year now. I don't think there's anything else. I can't see that they're in anything now, and maybe that's also with Smooya saying he's taking a bit of a break from streaming and stuff. Maybe they're just kind of closing down and shutting up shop for a bit. How would we rate their year? Or how would you rate the year? I think they're in the trenches, as we know when we spoke to Sam. I think they need to try and get up that ladder and get closer to tier 1. And I think the only way they can do that is qualifying for majors, right? And just winning as many of these weird tournaments as possible. But overall,
yeah, they need to.
They're 72nd in the world right now, which they'll be disappointed with.
Yeah, I'm not happy looking at their lineup and looking at their results. I'm not happy. They should be, I would say, like better than Bleed were.
Yeah, they should be like top 40 at least. Mate, when you look at that, when you look at that top 40 now, there's fucking some strong teams in there. Do you know what? This is JL just came out and said that in HLTV that he said, I don't think we've ever had this strong of a scene going into major, and I tend to agree with that, don't you? Like, it just feels like there's so much good teams and talent around, and yeah, I think the scene just feels fucking good right now, and the game feels like it's getting better. Valve are the only questionable thing with Valve is the timing of these updates as well. I mean, Valve just give no fucks, right? They just release a map during the RMRs for a major.
It's like they're purposely saying we don't care about the pro scene, which we know they've told us. It's like, you've told us that, we know you don't care about the pro scene, but now it's like you're trying to show us you don't care about the pro scene. It's like they're actively going out their way to be like, we don't give a shit about your pro scene.
How can we distract all these professionals that play the game non-stop and are desperate for something new and changing? And there's something new. Oh, let's just drop Train while they're doing the RMRs where they're not going to play it in a major because it's a brand new map and that's not fair. So let's just distract all the pro. Because surely everyone there, like, you know, Donk and that, who play 900 billion games a day, are just like, brilliant, a new map. Oh, we're not going to play it in the major. Anyway, I digress.
Yes, this is like a little buff. So like the teams that don't make the major get to practice on Train. So then all the teams that are in the major, when they come out, all the other teams can beat them at it.
Yeah, well, there's quite a big gap though, isn't there? Because basically we've got Christmas. We're done after the major, and then it's when's everyone back? Oh, God, I don't even know when the new season starts. Yeah. It's like second week of January, 3rd of January.
Oh, we've not really kind of talked about this, but we've got the Group B coming up, right? RMRB's happening Thursday.
Oh, is it? Oh, of course.
This is like the day after probably we've released this podcast. So
yeah, we'll release this on the Wednesday.
G2, Spirit, Eternal Fire, Heroic, VP, Australis, all those boys. They should all make it through, right?
So 7 teams are going through. G2, Spirit to...
So let me throw a few names at you. Like,
well, Australis would be a question mark now with no device, right?
No, Cadian in-game leading on the AWP, mate. They're probably going to win it.
The dream is real. The dream is real.
It's basically Heroic.
Mate, that group as a whole is definitely worse than this first group. This first group, Group A, is so much stronger. Okay, I'll tell you who's going to go through. G2, Spirit, Eternal Fire, Heroic, yeah, fine, Australis, B8, and then someone rogue like Passion or someone weird will just pop up and beat some people. I mean, Big, I just don't think Big are going to do it anymore. I know Big just traditionally are always quite good at these kind of things, but I can't see Big doing it. Those are my ones. I don't think VP go through.
Did you say Nip won't make it? Sorry, I kind of...
I can't remember now. I think I did say Nip. No, G2 Spirit, Eternal Fire, Heroic, Australis, B8, and then...
So right, it might be easy to say, out of the big boys, you're saying VP won't go through?
Yeah.
Okay. 3D Max?
No.
Okay.
I think B8 will go through. I think they've been playing quite well recently.
Kind of depends on the matchups as well, right? I think.
Yeah, of course. You can get a bit of an easier run, as proven in the first group, but yeah.
Okay, 3D Max are playing TSM.
Yeah, TSM are not going to go through, surely.
No, I think 3D Max will win that.
Yeah, no, I do. I agree, yeah.
Oh, sorry. What about Big?
Yeah, I just said I'm not sure. I don't think they will. I think they won't, and then Tabson should just fucking retire. I don't
I
know.
mean, they've got a pretty good group to get through. Like, I think Nine Pandas might make it through. I think
Yeah.
Nine Pandas, all the ones you said, or like the top ones, whatever you said. I think Nine Pandas and maybe Sashi. Yeah.
Okay. Listen, I'm gonna have to wrap this up because I have an upset child and a wife that is saying that she's upset. So we've been going long enough. We're hitting an hour. So let's GG this if that's all right with you. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. No. Cool. I think we're all done.
Thank you for your time and listen to ears, everyone. Please like, subscribe, and yeah, we'll put the Discord in the chat. If anyone wants to join, please do. Peace out.
Cheers, guys.